Today we're going to learn about what happens when lumber companies leave branches and stumps scattered all over the place. This was a common thing 100 years ago and more when lumber companies were going after the white pines. What do you think happens when all this waste is left? Here you got more pictures of stumps and trees slouched over after a lumber company came through. Well, this is what happens. It provides tinder for fires, and 3 significant ones had ravaged Minnesota. Here's a painting of the Hinckley fire, which is about 100 miles north of here. Here's the painting of a train on fire, and the train moving backwards toward a lake where people can escape the fire and jump into the lake. Even animals were running into the lake. Here's a similar scene of what people experienced in Hinckley. Other places that had fires were Cloquet and my hometown, Chisholm. And let's take a look where that is. So here's the Twin Cities right here. Hinckley, about 100 miles north of here, is a site of significant fire in Minnesota. Another one was in town of Cloquet, just a little bit west of Duluth, and then my hometown, Chisholm, which is about right here. And we celebrate fire days every year to commemorate that loss of a lot of people who died and the destruction of the town. All right, for your assignment today, what you're going to be doing is, it says read the passage below, highlight 3 words that help you remember what's important. Then draw a picture in the box that shows the message of the words you highlighted. Draw arrows and explain the meaning. So this is called search, draw, write. So you're going to search for important words in here, highlight them, then you're going to draw and write about it. Here's an example. So I read, by the late 1800s, the vast pine forests of northern Minnesota were disappearing, and lumber companies were cutting down white pine as fast as they could, leaving behind cut-over land, scarred landscapes littered with leftover branches, limbs, and stumps. Some Minnesotans argued that lumber companies needed to be limited in order to protect the few forests that remained. But these reformers had a hard time getting anyone to listen. Then, disaster struck, not just once, but repeatedly. For me, words that stood out were littered, leftover branches, and protect. So I took those words and drew a scene that matches what came to my mind. So I thought of one, leftover branches. So here's my drawings of leftover branches at the edge of a forest that's getting cut down. They're littered, meaning they're scattered around. And protect. People at the time felt forests needed to be protected. But it was taking a long time, and in fact many tragedies, to take care of that. So what I want you to do is read this passage, find 3 words or phrases that stand out to you, draw a picture of them, write the terms by the picture, labeling it, and then on the other side you're going to do the same for these other 2 passages, and then finally at the end, in this space, you're going to write a summary using at least 4 of the words you highlighted from this assignment. And today you'll learn about what happened when lumber companies cut down forests and left the waste, what were the consequences, and then how did they come up with solutions that would help improve the common good.